Right, we'll meet again. So in this video, we are going to learn more about implicit intent and also about another intent using camera hardware in our Android apps. So before we begin this tutorial, so we want to create a new project first, a new Android project, and then as usual, after you create a new project, so open up the build creator module over here. One of the creator module and then add the view feature, the build features view binding, set it as a true, and then after you add these build features and set it as true, don't forget to uh, sync the creator file. Okay, sync the project with the creator file. So remember that after you make any changes on the build creator module over here, don't forget to resync the creator files. Okay, so after you finish, so open up the Java package over here of the project, and then we want to create a new activity. So choose new, and then activity, and then choose empty fuse activity. Give the name, any name, or for your main activity name over here, for the name of your activity, and then don't forget to set this activity as a launcher. Give this mark, and then click on finish. So in this tutorial, I have already created a new activity here called main activity. So I will just skip this part, right? So after you create a new main activity here, what we want to do next, we want to open up the XML file, the design view, the activity main.xml file here, and then we want to add three view components. Okay, so the three components that we want to add, the first one is the text view, and then the second one is the edit text or the plain text. Coming from this text, plain text over here, and then lastly info template. So the first one here that we're going to go through this tutorial is we're going to use the text view and also the button. Okay, so you might want to set the ID for this view component. So let me put this place. Okay, so change ID for your text view. Give the appropriate ID. Let's say in here. I give the name txt template, and then the same thing also for the button. Give the appropriate ID for the button. Okay, btn invoke in my example here. And then next, don't forget to set the constraint for each of the view components. And then when you add the plain text here, the edit text, also don't forget to set up a unique ID for this view component. All right, so we will play with these three components. And then next, we also what we are going to do here, we will connect our app, this one, with the app that we have created previously in our uh, previous class. So wait over here. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Oops. Okay, so last week we have already created this app, the app that will get the value of your contact and then send a message over here. Wait a moment, it's not fully loaded yet. Okay, like this one, so the users can choose any contact phone number, any contacts stored in the emulator. For example, this one, choose any contact, right? And then if the user wants, the users can also, for example, choose a message template here from the previous week. and then pick up any message. For example, like this one, pick, let's meet up, and then this message will be displayed on this uh, on the text input layout, on the edit text of our the other message applications, the other applications that we have created. Okay, so what are we going to do here later on? We will connect this the app that we will create this week with the app that we have created last week here. So what are we going to do? So we will allow, so when the users press this input template button, so the users can get a list of templates provided in our other app over here. Let's say this one. Okay, the users can pick any other template and then wait a moment. Okay, pick any other template, and then when the users click on the pick, the selected text here will be displayed in the text view of our new app over here. All right. What's this one? Okay. So, right. So before we fill in the code in this project, so let's open our previous work first, or previous project. So we want to close this first, close this project, and then we will open up our previous project, and then we make some modifications. Okay, let's open up this one with 12. Okay, wait a moment until the process is finished. Let's wait here. It says that the Android Studio is still scanning the files to make the index of the files. Okay, so all in all, in case that if you have already opened this project, so we'll just directly open this the manifest file, Android.manifest, this one. So inside this Android manifest files, so what are we going to do here? Since we want to connect our new app with this app, allowing the app in the week 13 to select the list of template message from the app of week 12 here. So what are we going to do here? We want to find the activity that will display uh, the template list of message template. Okay, so you may notice here we already have this one activity message template activity. Okay, so inside this message template activity, we want to enable this activity to be recognized, to be searched, to be able to be uh, selected from another app. Okay, so change the value of this Android exported value. Like here, from false, we want to change it to true. Okay, change this one. Android exported from false to true. And then next, what we want to do, we want to add additional filter over here. Okay, intent filter. And then inside this intent filter, we want to add another two tags. The first one is the action text, and then give Android name, Android intent action view. So later on, if this app receives an intent called action view from another app, so this activity, the message template activity, will be triggered and then will be displayed on the app. And then next, we want to add the category text over here and then set Android intent category as a default. Okay, so this is will be the default uh, actions that will be displayed on our app once this app receives intent action view from another apps. Okay, it will display message template activity. Okay, so after you add this one, after you add this tag, don't forget to deploy your project. Okay, by um, selecting on this build my project, and then you can try to run the app. Okay, run the app, and then after your app is successfully executed, you will see that move it. Okay, okay. So after your app has been run, okay, and then has been executed, you might not be able to see the result directly over here on your Victor app, right? Because if you click on this template, so what are you going to do here? It just lists out the template normally from within the same app. But what are we going to do here? Later on, we want to open up this list of a message template from another app. Okay, so after your app has been deployed successfully onto the Android, onto the emulator or your Android device, so we will close this project and then we'll go back to our week 13 project. So choose close project over here. Okay, and then reopen the week 13, the week 13 project. So the new project that you have just created earlier, and then once, so yeah, well, we're waiting. Okay, so let's just directly go to here. Here. Okay, so open up your main activity. Okay, open up the main activity Kotlin files in this week 13 project. So what we want to do here, we want to add on-click listeners. Um, Wait, it's still loading the design. So what we want to do here, we want to add the on-click listener onto our button info template area that we have just created. So to do so, okay, so open your uh, main activity, the Kotlin file over here, and then on the function on create. Okay, so what we want to do here, we want to add the set on click listener method. Okay, so we have already included a few binding features into our project module over here, right? So don't forget to initialize the binding, okay, the view binding over here. So create a new object of binding, and then as usual, we we apply the layout implementor into this binding, and then we will set the content view to view the root of this binding object. And then next, okay, in this tutorial, I use a scope function with. Okay, so with this bind object, okay, using the view here, what are we going to do here? We will take the button info here, and then we will add the set on click listener. And then in this set on click listener, we will add a new intent. Okay, new intent. This one is implicit intent, and then we will specify what will be the actions that we will send. Okay, so we will go intent dot action equal intent action view. All right, so in here from this apps, when button info is clicked, it will send an implicit intent called with the type of action view. Okay, so For now, please ignore this line number 25. So we will use this letter. Okay. So we'll go directly next to line number 26 here. Then next, what we want to do here, we want to create a user. In the users, we will issue a command to Android operating systems to this create an intent users, and then set the we will send this intent that we want to do the action view here into this user, and then we give the title input template, and then next we will start the activity. Okay, so for now, at this step, you might want to test first. You might want to use oops, this one. Okay, so at this time, you might want to do this one just to test your apps. Okay, start activity, share intent, and then you might want to deploy the app that you have created. Okay, so I will not do the redeploying part because it will take some times on my machine here. So what I will do here, I'll just show you what the results of this activity. Okay, so now here, after you use start activity in this file on this set object listener method of button info, so every time you click button info here, your app will create an implicit intent that will send action view, and then this intent will be sent along through this intent user. Okay, so for example here, click on this info template, and then Android OS will open up a user like this one. Oops. Okay, it will create the users, and then of course in here our week 12. Okay, because earlier we have already added action view in our week 12 apps. Okay, so in this case, this week 12 will also be displayed within this input template user. Okay, so when we select this week 12, your app should display the message activity template page from week 12 app, like this one. Okay, so at this moment, so your app should be able to display this list of message template. Next, what are we going to do here? We want to enable our app, the week 13 app that we have just created here, to be able to read the template that is selected by the users. When the users click on this pick template, pick button, then your Android app should be able to, your Android app week 13 should be able to read what is the selected text message over here from this template. Okay. So remember earlier we are just using start activity, right? When we use start activity, what it does is we only just send the intent. We will not catch any result that the users do, any events resulting from the user activity in the open intent, right? If we want to receive the result, if we want to receive the result, the action, we want to know what are the actions that your app users do in the new intent. So we want to use another function called start activity for result. Okay, so we want to, oops, this one. Okay, what we want to do here, we want to use this form, this method, start activity for result, and then we send the same share intent, and then in here we need to create a new request key. Okay, so go on at the top of your flash over here, and then we want to create a constant. In here we want to create a constant called request template, so this will be our key to uh, read, to later on to read. So what is the request that has been performed, that has been sent through a specific intent, right? Give any value that you want. So in this case, I use the value of 1. Okay, and then don't forget, since we already used start for result, so we want to create an operate function here on activity result, and then in here on this on activity result function, what we want to do here, we want to check. Okay, so if the result code of a specific activity is okay, we give a result okay, and then we want to check again. Okay, so depending on the request that has been sent by this week 13 app, we will perform a specific set of action. So in this case, we have just added one action, right? So we only send an intent over here, and then we send the intent, and then we give the intent key as a request template over here. Okay, so here we do the checking if the request code equal to the requesting template over here. Then what are we going to do? We want to copy the text that is selected by the user from the message template activity into our this text message, into this text view, the or wrapper. Okay, so over here with bind. Okay, so you may want to utilize the logcat uh, to record the state. Okay, to do the debugging whether your app, your Victorian app, really be able to obtain the data from the Victor apps. Okay, so next in here, what we're going to do. So if we receive the data from the uh, Victor app, so we will set the text inside this txt template. Okay, so we will display the received text into this plain text. Okay, so txt template, the text equal to data, set it as a nullable nullable save operation over here. So if the data is exists, okay, then we want to get string extra, and then in here, remember, I create another constant key called template message equal to template all caps. Okay, set the key template message. So why does we need to set this key as a template? So how can we know whether it is the correct value? Well, we need to reflect on our Victor app first. In that case, okay. So let me close my project here. Let me open this Victor project. Open up a new window. Okay, so open up this Victor. So let's see. Earlier we will show this message template activity, right? We have this array list. So where does this array list come from when this array is displayed? Okay, so this array list is displayed through this template adapter, right? So in here, we use template adapter. Then we will take a look. Okay, so we need to take a look. Once the user click on the pick button, what kind of intent that will be executed in this template adapter file? So open up the code template adapter Kotlin file over here, and then take a look at this on pen view holder. Okay, so take a look at your previous on pen view holder in your Big12 project. Okay, you want to find this one, the set on click listener method event handler of button pick. So you can see here, we will create a new intent, a new implicit intent. So when this button pick of week 12 project is clicked, so it will create a new implicit intent, and then it will put an extra. So the extra that will be put, okay, so we will send the value, we will give the key for this value is called template message. But this template message is actually only constant variable. So we need to see what is actually the string value of this template message. So go over, okay, so it comes from message template activity. So we go over our message template activity content file, and then we want to find a constant called template message. So in our previous app, in our Wix project app here, we actually don't have a constant of this template message, right? We don't have a constant of the same value of template message. However, in here we can see that this message template activity, it actually has a component of object, and then for this component object it has a constant called template message, and then the value here is template. Okay, does it ring a bell? Yes, exactly. So this value is actually the same value that we use in our as a string key in our week 13 app here. Okay, so you may want to create any constant name in your week 13. But the thing that you need to remember here, make sure that the string key, the value of string that you put into this constant has the same value with with the value that you use over here. Okay, why? Because in this template adapter, we will send a message. Okay, so we will send intent, and then we put an extra data, and then if the original app or any other app that want to use this data, then it needs to access it through the same string key, which is template, and then it will later on obtain the real message over here, the real text, get from the templates array at the specific positions of uh, the that the user has selected. Okay, set the activity result as an OK, send the intent, finish. So this we have done it in week 12. All right. So once it has been selected, it will return up a specific string, correspond any one of these four strings back to the caller. So we go back to our week 13 over here. Okay, so that's why over here we will set the data text template the text equal to data nullable save operation over here, and then get string extra, and then put the string key. So you may want to directly write it as a template over here, or you can just directly use the constant that you have over here. So any ways that is you think it's faster for you, more efficient for you, you can choose that one. Right. You might also want to try to give, let's say, if you put not some random string or some any other string other than the key that you use in your week 12 app. So you might want to notice what will happen actually. Okay, so for example here, I choose movie time, pick. Once you finish, don't forget to redeploy your app again. Okay, so for example, this one, movie time, oh sorry, it's not displayed on this uh, edit text, but it is displayed in this text template on the label here. We will display movie time. Okay, let's choose another. Okay, let's try another one. Pick up. Okay, let's see. Let's meet up. And let's meet up will be displayed on this label text template. All right, so this is the first tutorial that we have done with uh, implicit intent. Next, what we want to do next here is that we want to utilize the edit text that we have just created in the UI here. So what we want to do here, if the users put some message over here, for example, oops, moment. It's okay. Reopen again. Week 13 over here. Put some message. Reflect this one. Hello, are you there? And then when we click on this info template, this message will be sent to our week 12 as a new uh, template. Okay, so for example, this one, we click on this info template, and then we selected this week 12, we select this week 12, and then later on you will see there is an additional text that we have in our message template picker. Hello, are you there over here? So originally we only have 4 texts, right? Let's meet up if you work on the project, movie time, and PC to not disturb. But now with a new activity, so there is another message over here. Hello, are you there? Right? And then of course, this message can also be selected by the user. So for example, the user choose, hello, are you there? This one, pick. And it will return back to our week 13 app, and then it will be displayed over here on the text template. Okay, if let's try, we change uh with a new text over here. Let's say this one. Good game. Info template, and then this text will be sent through our to our week 12 apps to the list of message template over here. We'll see good game, and then it can be picked by the users. Change the value over here. Good game. Right. So how can we do this? Let's get back to our week 13 project. Okay, you may notice here in my on-call functions on line 25, earlier I asked you to ignore this line, right? So this is actually what this code in the line 25 does. Okay, so it will send the text. So in here, I add a checking. Okay, so if the length of this new template text here is greater than 0, it means that we want to check, we want to ensure that the user already input some text on that text field. Okay, then we will input an extra. Okay, on this on click listener, we will put an extra, and then again, you need to specify what will be the key for your extra. In here, you can create any other key, any string key that you want, any value. But you need to remember that later on in your week 12, it need to catch that key, the same key. Okay, so instead of creating a new key just for this week 13 app, so why not we just use a generic intent extra? Okay, such as in this case, in this tutorial, I use extra text. Okay, so I use the generic intent extra called extra text. So intent dot extra text, and then uh, we put the value that we want to send to week 12. In this case, it comes from the txt new template dot text. All right, don't forget to deploy your app. And then next, we'll get back here to week 12. So to make sure that our week 12 can receive the data from that is sent from week 13 app, and then add the data into the array. So what we want to do here, we want to check, okay, find on this message template activity or within your template adapter. Okay, so find out the place where you initialize the array list, and then how you can add this template. So in this tutorial, okay, so this array list of string of the template, I put it inside this message template activity file. Okay, so that means I need to put the catcher, the intent catcher here in this message template activity file, right? So here is the code that I put. Okay, so on line 21 until 23. So within this onCreate function, within this onCreate method, so we'll have a checking if, okay, we want to see whether there is any string extra that is sent from any other intent. So if there is any string extra that is sent, we want to find out the one with the key called extra text. Okay, the same generic intent extra that we use in week 13 to send the value from the text message from the text box. Okay, and then here we want to make sure as long as the string extra from intent extra text here is not null, then what are we going to do? We want to add that string, the template, the string into our array list of templates here. Okay, so adding up an element into this array list. Okay, calling up the name of this array list templates. Okay, dot add, and then we add intent get string extra. So we get the value here intent extra text. Don't forget to change it to string. Okay, because this one we need to because our array list here is of a string data type, so we need to convert it into string. Okay, so once you add this line, try to redeploy your Victor app again, and then you should notice the changes now. So every time you invoke, you put some other message in this in the text box of your Victor theme. For example, this one, hello, and then when you click on this input template button, it will open up the list of message template that can be selected by the user from the week 12. And then you will notice that the string that you input over there will be automatically added into your array list that will be displayed in your week 12 message activity file. All right, you can try to do this on your own. Okay, so this is the second tutorial that we do in this week 13. Next, what are we going to do here for our next tutorial is, what if, let's say, we want to use a camera in our app. Okay, so let us go back here to our week 12 app. Okay, let me open up the app, week 12 app. Okay, let's say in our app we want to use camera features. So how can we do it? Okay, so for example here I have modified a little bit from the UI of the week 12 app. Previously we only have these two text boxes, the phone text boxes, the message text box, the phone text box, the message text box, and then we have only have two buttons previously, pick template and also send button. Now I add two view components. The first one is the image viewer. I will use this image viewer to display the capture image from the camera module. And then the second one here, another view components called floating action button, the camera here. So when this button is clicked, our app should open the camera application, and then the captured image later on will be displayed on this image viewer. Okay, since I use the emulator, so it will use a virtual camera. So for example, here, when I click on this camera button, the Android emulator will show will emulate a virtual camera. Okay, so allow to take picture and record the image. Okay, so you open up the virtual camera. You will see here it's actually not a the real camera. This is just a virtual camera which you can move the camera. You can control the camera like this one. I want to take a picture of this cat. Okay, and then once you have selected the picture, press the camera button here to take the image. Okay, so once the picture is taken, when you click on this tick mark, the captured image will be displayed on our image viewer, like this one. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this tutorial, in the next tutorial. Okay, so since we will modify our week 12 app, so you can just close your week 13 project over here. We'll close week 13, and then we'll focus on this week 12 project. Right. So before we begin this tutorial, since we later on needs to have additional components in our view, such as wait a moment, there is this one. Okay, so we have image viewer and also we have floating action button. So what you want to do here right now, open up the activity main, the design view. You may want to add the image view, okay, into your view components. And then don't forget to set the consent and then give the unique ID to your image viewer over here. And then as the picture, the drawable picture for this image viewer, so you can choose the default launcher the default launcher image, vector image. Okay, so open up this drawable. Okay, you have the IC launcher background, so you can choose this IC launcher background as the um, as the default source for this image viewer. Okay, and then next, because oops, NMP directly. I think it's because lacking of memory, but nevertheless, okay. So we'll directly see here. Ah, here it goes. Okay, here it is. The image viewer and then the floating action. So as for the floating action button, since we want to use the image of the icon of a camera over here, so first thing first, you want to add this asset into your project. So go over to your uh, project explorer bar, set bar over here, and then on the drawable folder, right click on it, and then choose new vector asset, and then search for the camera icon by clicking on this clip art. You can type in camera on the search field. and then waiting for a while until Android Studio display a list of icons that we can select. Okay, so you can select any of the icons here that you want to use. So in this tutorial, I use this camera alternative icon here just uh, just for example. So of course you can choose any other icon that you want to use. Okay, so after you finish, click on OK, and then click on Finish over here, right? And then add the floating action buttons component from this palette, floating action button. Set the background to use the drawable image that we have just uh, included earlier. Okay, the camera vector assets, and then set the constraint, set the unique ID. And then next, what we want to do here, because we want to use camera, then we in Android we cannot just directly send the intent to camera. So we need to use the appropriate library to enable the camera modules, the camera sensor in our project. Right. So basically, there are two techniques that we can use to utilize the camera in Android project. So you can see uh, you can see the two procedures, okay, from the PPT over here. So from this two link. So actually the first link here is already deprecated. It's not active anymore. So you can just go to this link, developer android.com training camera, and then later on in this website, it will give you three options of techniques that you can select. The first one is using camera library. Second one is the camera 2 library, and then lastly, the latest one is using camera X technique. So in this tutorial, we will use the old technique, the traditional technique called on the camera, just a normal camera. But I would suggest you to train using the latest module camera X library. Right. So okay, to add the camera feature into our app. So we want to open our Android manifest file, and then we want to add the permissions and then some extra tweak in our Android manifest. Okay, so go over your manifest file. So add the topmost of your Android manifest files within the manifest tag, but outside the application tag. Add these two lines. Users feature. Okay, so since we want to enable the camera feature, so add this line, add this tag, users feature Android hardware camera, and then set as required to true. Okay, so put this tag outside the application tag. Don't put it inside the application tag. And then one thing that you need to pay attention is that for API version 29 above, so we must explicitly state the permissions to use this camera hardware. Okay, so after this uses feature tag, so we want to add another line uses permission, Android name, Android permission camera. Again, put this tag outside the application tag. Right, so after you add these two codes over here, so next, let's get back to our main activity. Okay, so we want to add another uh, another key, another request key just for this taking the image from the camera. Okay, in here you can see I have already prepared a constant called request image capture, and then I set the value 3. Again, so all this value, okay, for this constant, you can set it with any value that you want. Okay, I just use 3 for the simplicity sake. Okay, next, what we want to do next here, we want to add the on-click listener onto the floating action button that we have here in our design over here. Okay, so get back to main activity content file. Okay, so within this onCreate with find the scope function here, we want to add a new set on click listener for our floating action button. So in here, before we allow the users to access the camera, we will make sure that the users give the app permissions to access the camera feature. So in here, add uh, this code, okay, to checking if context compat dot check sub permission it dot context and then manifest permission camera. So this manifest actually come from the Android manifest class. Okay, so if you take a look, if you uh, take a look at this import, okay, so you must make sure that the manifest that you use here coming is the one that come from the Android manifest. We don't want to use the manifest that come from the uh, our project here. Okay, so please be careful when you want to import the library of the manifest library over here. Okay, so manifest permission camera not equal package manager to permission granted. So this code means we want to check if um, the app, this week 12 app, receive permission to access camera module. Okay, so if it does not receive any permissions to access the camera module, then we want to display uh, the request permissions window, okay, the request permission pop-up message to the users. Okay, so by adding this line, activity compat request permission, and then this of the main activity scope, and then we will list array of manifest permission camera, and then we give the request key as the request image capture. Right, and then in here, what we want to do next, because we send request permissions, request image capture, so we want to add a new method. We want to add two methods. Sorry, this one just self permission. Okay, so in here, we want to add a new operate function called on request permission result. And then in here, on request permission result, we will check with the request code that it received when request code of this permission checking window over here. Okay, when the request code sent by this if everything to compat request permission. Okay, so we want to check if the request code is equal with the request image capture. In this case, what we want to do here, let's say if the current result is not empty, okay, so if the users are granting the apps, the Victor app to be to enable to be able to take a picture from the camera, then we will start a new implicit intent to call the camera module and then take the picture. Otherwise, it means if the permission is not granted, we will display information message that in a toast here that asks the users to grant permissions to access the camera. Okay, let me give you an example here. Because earlier I have already granted the camera features in Victor app. So obviously I need to revoke that permission first in the system settings. Um, Okay, in the system settings over here, we go over to the app. Wait a moment. We open app permission, app and notifications over here, and then open up with 12. Let me revoke the camera permissions. Permission this one camera. Let me remove it. Turn it off. All right. So here, let's get back to our week 12 app. Well, okay, click on the floating action buttons. Okay, still waiting. Okay, click on this floating action button, and then it will display this pop-up message to request the permission from the user. So allow these Victor applications to take pictures and record video. If we deny this, our app will display a toast message over here. You must grant permissions to access the camera. Okay, so what if the user have already granted the permission to access the camera? Then earlier I mentioned that we must create an implicit intent to call the camera apps, right? And then in that case, to make it to simplify the code, let's just create a new function just to create this implicit intent to call this camera. Okay, so create implicit intent and then set the the action for this implicit intent as a media store dot action image capture. Right. So in this case, the the image that has been captured using the camera later on will be delivered back to the caller. So in this case, the caller is the floating action button in the main act of the main activity. Okay. Again, because we want to get the result from this intent from the camera, so we will use start activity for result. Okay, the value that is we send the intent that we send here is the implicit intent, this one intent, and then what will be how we can what will be the key value to access this the captured image from the camera. So we use this request key, request image capture, and then we get back to our on activity result because we already add we have a new request code called request image capture, so we can add a new checking over here in new evaluations. If the request code that received by this activity result is equal with the request image capture, then what it will do here, it will read the extra data. We don't know what is the format of the extra data, right? So in this case, we assume that it is an image because it comes from the camera. Again, we need to use the nullable save operator over here. Okay, so we want to convert the extra data that we receive from that intent into the map, into a bitmap image. So create a new variable called image bitmap and then set it as an object of a bitmap class. And then we must make sure here over here that the extra is not empty. And then we want to obtain the data, get data as bitmap. All right. Next, after that, we want to bind the image that is captured from the camera into our image viewer. So in this case, bind dot image viewer photo set image bitmap and given the value of image fitment. And then when you try your app, don't forget to deploy your app. Okay. When you try your app later on, click on this FAP camera, give the permission. After you give the permissions, later on you can capture the image. Okay, so when we capture the image, okay, so once you're satisfied with the captured image, click on this tick mark button, and then the captured image will be displayed on the image viewer that we have prepared beforehand, like this one. All right, so this is our last tutorial about implicit intent. Again, I would like to remind you to please try the latest technique, the camera X that is provided in the Android developer website. Okay, because in the future, the camera library here will be deprecated and then will not be supported anymore. And then we will be forced to use the camera X technique to access the latest technique to access the camera. So in this case, it's better for you to try to self-learn about this technique first beforehand. Right? Any questions so far? If you guys have any questions, so you can type in your question in the comment box, or you can send an email to me or to the Google Space. Right? And thank you.